Brandon, you surprised the Bears didn't land Russ with this trade package?
Absolutely not, Jenna. Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks have finally realized they have one of the best quarterbacks the game has ever seen. He has more wins than anyone in NFL history through 9 years. Think about that. And they're finally realizing that. If they want to be considered Hall of Fame coaches, Hall of Fame general managers, then they need to protect their quarterback. The greats protect their quarterback. That's what it's coming down to. Free agency started, guys, and you haven't made one move. Now, a lot of that could be because they haven't figured out this situation. And, guys, from what I'm hearing is like, well, Seattle reached out to me. I want to go out there. It's really attractive, but Russ could be gone. So they may be even making the situation worse for them by keeping Russell Wilson and everybody else in limbo. This is going to be a sad day in Seattle sports history if they don't figure this out. We're talking about Ken Griffey Jr. leaving. We're talking about the Sonics leaving. When I played with Russ, and it was a short time, I was only there for, pretty much 10 months. And what I realized really quickly is he loves Seattle, and he also loves to win. He's obsessed with both. So they need to figure it out because this situation is getting worse by the minute. And one of the things that we're not talking about is in free agency, how it's not an attractive destination right now because we're wondering, why aren't guys going there? What's going on in free agency? Well, a lot of guys are just hesitant because Russell Wilson's situation isn't clear, Nick.
So before I give my take, I want to fully flesh out what you're saying here. Because on one hand, you have the Seahawks turning down 3 first-round picks and a couple of starters for Russ, seemingly recognizing his value. But on the other hand, you say they aren't doing the things they need to do to fully realize his future potential by protecting him. Now, they did trade for Gabe Jackson yesterday, which I think is a good move and they deserve some credit for. So what do you think is happening there behind the scenes? Like, they don't want to lose him, but they also don't want to empower him? Kind of expand on that, and then I'll give my take on the Bears trade offer.
No, it's just exactly that. It's them finally sitting at the table and having that conversation. All right, how do we work this out? Obviously, we know what Pete Carroll wants to do. Pete Carroll wants to do it the way he's always done it, run the ball and play really good defense. That's how they won a Super Bowl before. The league has changed. Russell Wilson has changed. Russell Wilson is obsessed with winning, but he's obsessed with winning with flair. He wants to be in contention with the greats. Patrick Mahomes, when we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, he wants to be right there. When we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, he wants to be right there. So right now, I think they're trying to figure that out. But if they don't get their act together soon, he could be on the move, Nick. It's still not over.
Well, and I do think that one of the noteworthy things in the Seattle, I think it was the Seattle Times, I apologize for not getting the newspaper name right, the Seattle newspaper article I read this morning that's notable to other GMs is that this offer at least piqued John Schneider's interest, but Pete Carroll, it was not enough for him. And to me, the reason it wasn't enough for Pete Carroll is because the Bears did not offer and cannot offer what must be included if you are going to trade away Russell Wilson, which is either a franchise quarterback or a pick to acquire a franchise quarterback. So I don't look at the Bears offer as some great offer for Seattle. What do you get? You get the 20th pick of this year's draft. You then get the Bears' next 2 first-round picks, which guess what? Will be in the 20s because they'll have Russell Wilson as their quarterback, so they're not going to be bad. And a couple defensive starters, that's nice, but none of that matters if you don't have the quarterback situation settled, which is why, Wilds, unless Russ is going to expand his list to include Brandon's beloved New York Jets or the Miami Dolphins, I just don't see where they're going to have enough value coming back. I think if you're trying to trade for Russ or Deshaun, you must be able to include a quarterback, a legitimate quarterback, not Andy Dalton or Nick Foles, a legitimate quarterback or a top 5 pick that you can use to acquire a future franchise quarterback. So I'm not surprised Seattle turned this deal down. It's why I said, Wilds, I don't think Chicago can ever come up with enough capital to make this work because they can't send a quarterback back.
Yeah, but the door doesn't seem shut on Russ to Chicago. And when I saw the offer, I was like, oh, I'm not surprised they turned this down. This doesn't seem wildly different than the Jamal Adams trade. You go, all right, so 3 firsts, a third, and 2 players. All right, well, to get Jamal Adams, it was 2 firsts, a third, and 1 player. It's not a wildly wide gulf in that offer,
right.
And the player's value is wildly different. So I think they're going back to the table. Like, look, someone's put it out there publicly, and I don't think Seattle has a ton of pressure. But when the offer came out, the Bears GM was lambasted, calling for their job. So I think they go back and like, all right, let's dig through our draft capital, see what else we can offer. And no one, Nick, nobody has said this is dead. Not Ian Rappaport, not Schefter, not Glazer, not Brandon Marshall, not the Seahawks, who are like, we're not interested in trading Russ at this time. So I think this is just going to be the first of many offers we hear until we get closer and closer to draft day and the Bears up and up and up their offer.
Well, Wilds, I think you make a very interesting point. And Brandon, I want to bounce something off you because you joke about me being the resident GM on this show. If I were the Seahawks GM, I wouldn't trade Russ. But if I were, let's pretend I'm the Seahawks GM and I am open to trading Russ, okay? So pretend that.
Right.
I would tell Chicago, you need to find a way to make me this offer and include Tua Tagovailoa in it. Chicago needs to bring a third team involved to where they can also send them a quarterback. I've heard some people speculate Sam Darnold. I think Darnold is not going to get anyone excited. I think Tua might. But I think that if Chicago is going to actually be in the game here, a third team that can send Seattle a quarterback, because if you're Seattle, aren't you concerned that if the best pick you're getting this year is the 20th and the team you're trading with is going to be employing Russell Wilson, you're never going to get a top 5 pick in this trade. You're never going to get that blue chip, no doubt draft pick in this trade. So how can you make it work? That would be my concern if I'm the Seattle GM.
That's your concern. My question to Seattle is, why do you need a Tua? Why do you need a top-flight quarterback? Think about what you're asking this guy to do. You're asking your quarterback to freaking hand the ball off on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down if it's manageable. What is manageable? 3rd and 2, 1 to 3. We're going to run it again. That's what you're asking this quarterback to do, and then all of a sudden you say, let's take some shot plays. There's a lot of guys that can do that. We saw Baker Mayfield have success doing that. We see Kirk Cousins having success doing that. Like, what are you trying to accomplish if you're Seattle? Russell Wilson, what he's done and why it's worked is because when the game is on the line, going back to 2012 in Chicago, going to 2014 playing in Green Bay, and he has these drives where it's like they're magical. And now what Russ is saying is, I want to do more than just be magical in those moments. Yes, I know I'm the winningest quarterback in NFL history, but give me an opportunity to open up more. And when I do make a mistake, still believe in me because I'm your guy.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.